Good evening. I would like to call this meeting to order. It is Wednesday, April 8th, 2026 at 6 p.m. If I can remind all to silence your phones and please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item number 3 is public comment. All public comment is limited to 3 minutes per person. Is there anyone with public comment?
Madam Chair. Oh, do you have somebody?
I had someone raise their hand.
Is this in regards to the variance application, or is that coming later?
That will come later.
Madam Chair, before we start, Randy Hines, Public Works Planning and Building. I just wanted to introduce you to our new senior planner, Dan Kalan. So he'll be kind of taking a couple items today, but I wanted to introduce you before we kick the meeting off. So thank you.
Thank you for that introduction. Item number 4, verification of the posting of the agenda.
The agenda was posted on April 2nd, 2026, between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 5 p.m. at the location stated on the agenda, in accordance with NRS and Churchill County Code.
Thank you. Item number 5, consideration and possible action regarding approval of agenda as submitted or revised.
Madam Chair, Vicky Ansotigi for the record. I move to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
Just to clarify that it's to the approval of the agenda, not the consent agenda, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
I move to approve the agenda as submitted.
Thank you.
Second.
There was a motion for item number 5 by Commissioner Ansotigi and seconded by Commissioner Hyde. If I can remind all commissioners to please turn on your mic because I don't think everyone heard you, Mr. Hyde. I heard you before I heard Mills. So it was seconded by Hyde. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. All those opposed? We have a pass, 5-0. Item number 6, verification of notification of all landowners in accordance with NRS and the Churchill County Code.
All attempts to notify landowners as required by code were made.
Thank you. Item number 7, consideration and possible action regarding approval of minutes of the meeting held on March 11th, 2026, public hearing. Anyone have a motion?
Madam Chairman, Dennis Mills for the record. I move we approve the minutes of March 11th, 2026.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Mills and seconded by Commissioner Frey. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. All those opposed? Pass 5-0. Item number 8 is old business. We have no items tonight. Item number 9, new business. A, consideration and possible action regarding a sending site application, TDR 26-1, filed by Richard A. Doty and Tina M. Doty, co-trustees under the Robert and Tina Doty Family Trust Agreement dated February 28, 2026. The properties are located at 9225 Pasture Road and on Norcott Lane. Assessor's parcel numbers are 006-111-01 and 006-111-02, consisting of 160 acres in the A10 zoning district. The applicant proposes to place a conservation easement on the parcel. Is there anyone here to speak on behalf? Please kindly come on up and have a seat. There's 2 seats there available, and when you go to speak, either side. And when you go to speak, there's a little microphone on the bottom of the platform of the mic there. If you don't mind turning that on, please announce your first and last name and your address.
Tina Doty, 3015 Bass Road.
Robert Doty, 3015 Bass Road.
Thank you very much. I'll turn it over to staff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, Randy Hines, Public Works Planning and Building. This subject property meets the minimum requirements set forth in Churchill County Code, Chapter 16.14. Based on the transfer of development right calculations, the total TDRs for the property are 229. In discussions at the sending site committee meeting, the property owner has asked, or as requested, for the appraisal of the property to be done with and without a home reservations, just so they have the option of having that reservation or not having it. Again, the sending site reviewed the application on March 9th of 26, and the recommended approval of the sending site is and approval of the 229 TDRs. And with that, I can answer any questions.
Thank you. Is there anything you guys would like to add?
No.
Thank you. I'd like to open up to the board for discussion. Seeing that there is none from the board, is there any public comment? Thank you. Seeing that there's none, can I entertain a motion, please?
Madam Chair, Joe Frey for the record. I move to approve the sending site application listed on the agenda under new business item A.
Madam Chair, just so this is a recommendation to the board. You guys aren't approving it, you're recommending it to the board for approval. So you just have to revise that motion.
Madam Chair, I'd like to strike that motion and add a new motion that we recommend to the Board of County Commissioners the sending site application listed under item 9A, new business.
It has been first and seconded, first by Commissioner Frey, second by Commissioner Hyde. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Pass 5-0, and we will send your application and forward it to the Board of County Commission with our recommendation and approval. Thank you so much for coming this evening.
Okay,
Great,
thank you.
9, new business B, consideration and possible action regarding variance application VAR 26-1, filed by GP Global LLC. The property is located off York Lane in the railroad right-of-way south of assessor's parcel number 008-411-09. The applicant proposes to construct 5 signs along the railroad right-of-way and requests a variance from the limit on square feet of signage per parcel. Is there anyone here to speak on behalf of 9 new business B? Please come forward. Go ahead and turn your mic on at the bottom platform there and state your name and address, please, sir.
Again? How about now? Cool. George Pomeroy, 4882 Harrigan Road.
Thank you, sir. I'll turn it over to staff, please. I think Dan is going to speak on this behalf.
Dan Kalan, Churchill County Planning, for the record. The applicant is requesting a variance to install 5 140-square-foot pole signs. The area in question limits pole signs to 140 square feet for the entire parcel. As this is a variance, there are 4 findings that the commission is required to make. These are exceptional, extraordinary, or exceptional situation or condition, peculiar and exceptional practical difficulties or exceptional and undue hardship. It will be will not be materially detrimental to public health, safety, welfare, or injurious to property or improvements in the vicinity. And the proposed variance is consistent with the intent and purpose of this title. Staff is unable to make all of these findings and therefore recommends a denial. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Dan. Is there anything you would like to add, sir?
Yes. So I'm George Pomeroy with GP Global Outdoor Advertising. Thanks for the time tonight, and thank you, staff, for the work put into the staff report. I understand the concerns that were brought up, and I would like to walk through fits within the variance criteria. First, this is not a typical parcel. It's a long, narrow railroad corridor that runs for nearly a mile. Because of that shape, the per parcel limitation on sign square footage doesn't function the same way it would on a standard or typical property. If this same frontage were divided into typical parcels, similar sign placement and significantly closer spacing could be achieved under the code without a variance. So the limitation here is really a function of parcel configuration and not actual impact. Second, the hardship created isn't that I can't place a sign. It's that applying a single per parcel limit to a parcel of this length creates an unintended result. On a mile-long corridor, one sign ends up feeling isolated and unbalanced, almost as if it were an afterthought. What I'm proposing instead are small uniform signs that individually comply with the current size limitation, spaced about 950 feet apart plus or minus, which creates a consistent and orderly pattern over the distance. Third, in terms of public health, safety, and welfare, the staff noted that there's no material detriment as long as the signs comply with the county code. These are static signs, no movement, no changing messages, and they're spaced far apart. So this isn't increasing the intensity or clustering. It's actually a very low impact and organized layout over a long stretch. Finally, on the intent of the code, I agree that the goal is to protect the visual quality along the corridor. My position is that on a parcel like this, consistency over distance maintains visual quality better than a single isolated sign placed somewhere along that entire frontage. This proposal is meant to be intentional and orderly and not random and scattered. I understand the idea of a code amendment also, but this is a site-specific situation with a uniquely shaped parcel, and I believe that that's exactly what the variance process is for. And for those reasons, I respectfully ask for your approval.
Thank you, sir. If you don't mind muting your mic, I'll turn it over to the board and open it up for discussion. Thank you. Does anyone have anything to add?
Dennis Mills for the record. Mr. Pomeroy, a couple questions. What's preventing you from pursuing maybe more normal path to meet this objective, like trying to split this parcel into 5 parcels, or using smaller signs, of course, if you want something that's visually pleasing down the length of this path, or pursuing a change in the zoning code of the county rather than ask for a variance at this time?
Sure. I understand that perspective. A code amendment would address this broadly, but this request is specific to this uniquely shaped parcel where the standard doesn't apply cleanly. That's exactly what the variance process is intended for, and this allows the request to be reviewed on a case-by-case basis through this very process in order to comply with the sign code.
Comments on subdividing the parcel?
Subdividing the parcel. I don't know that that's an option based on it's a railroad parcel with a long stretch, long corridor. So, and then it's uniquely narrow. And I haven't looked into subdividing, but I'm not sure that like a subdivided railroad corridor would meet the size restrictions of
So not yet evaluated at this point?
Correct.
Okay.
Madam Chair, Joe Frey for the record. I do believe that this parcel meets some of those requirements for a variance, but it definitely does not meet all of them. Do we need to meet all of the requirements or just some of the requirements, or is that at our discretion? And maybe that is for council or staff to answer that question.
Wade Carner for the record. You do need to make all of those findings. The verbiage there is "and," so it's inclusive of all of those findings.
George Pomeroy, for the record. Which findings doesn't it meet specifically, I guess?
Dan, if I can turn that over to you for staff to clarify the findings that he's in question.
So based on staff's analysis, property is not characterized by an extraordinary or exceptional situation or condition such as narrowness or shallowness or shape of the lot, as it is physically possible to place all of these signs. So there's nothing preventing him from placing these signs on the parcel. So that is the first finding. Second finding is whether or not it would be peculiar or exceptional practical difficulty or exceptional or undue hardship on the owner of the property. He's still able to place 5 signs on the parcel that meet the current code of 140 square feet, or he can place, or totaling 140 square feet, or a single 140 square foot sign. So he's able to place a sign on the parcel. The finding 3 is split into 2. There's public health, safety, or welfare, and we have no issues with public health, safety, or welfare, provided it meets the Churchill County Code. However, this would be detrimental to the rights of property holders in the vicinity by creating a different standard for similarly located and zoned properties. Therefore, this is injurious to the property and improvements in the vicinity. And finally, the proposed variance is consistent with the intent and purpose of this title. The sign code is very specific in terms of limiting the square footage in particular areas along Reno Highway. This is in between Sheckler Cutoff and the Carson River Bridge, and it is allowed a maximum of 140 square feet per parcel. And it is distinctly written out there in code and complies with the master plan's impact on visual gateways into the community. So staff is unable to make any of these findings.
Thank you, Dan. And when you speak, if you don't mind speaking into the mic, because I'd had a really hard time
I can
hearing you.
speak
but
up,
That's
sorry.
okay. On your finding number 1 that you were stating, you're stating that he could place the 5 signs that he's wanting to place on there. They just need to meet the code requirements.
Yes, he can place physically the signs. There's nothing that is preventing him from placing it in terms of either the required position or the shape of the parcel per se. Normally, a variance is used in a case where there's a very difficult topographical situation. Say there's a cliff and the setback area where you would normally have a building be placed is now placed into the cliffed area and there's no longer access. So requesting a variance in that case for a reduction in setback would allow for the parcel to be constructible. In this case, it is perfectly possible to place the sign. It's just the fact that he would like to place more.
I understand. Thank you. Any further would you like to add something, Mr. Pomeroy?
Yes. I'd like to hit actually each and every one of those points. I should say that this property actually is characterized by exceptional narrowness or shape. The code doesn't function on this property, and this kind of also leads me to, it's a hardship to maintain the intent of the code. Because the intent of the code is to help implement the master plan goals and policies to protect the visual quality of the county along the entryways and gateways and main streets and highways of the community. And I maintain that one sign looks isolated and unintentional and arbitrary, whereas if we get 5 orderly signs, they can look more intentional and planned out with a consistent visual pattern, further closer maintaining the intent of the code. Also, the exceptional narrowness, I would say a parcel that's 100 feet wide and a mile long is exceptionally geographically, it meets, a variance may be granted only when the property is characterized by an extraordinary or exceptional situation or condition, such as exceptional narrowness, shallowness, or shape, and I would say it qualifies for all of those due to its unique configuration. What were the other ones?
So with that said, you're wanting to put the 5 signs that he's stating that you can put on the actual property. You're just wanting to change the size of them, is what is clear, correct?
No, I'm wanting to put the same size signs that are already permitted, just 5 of them evenly spaced along that parcel to make a like a well thought out and orderly pattern coming into town to further like meet the actual intent of the code. I think the intent of the code is lost when we apply it to this parcel as it's written.
So none of your signs would intrude or be too large into the railway?
No, I actually had to apply, create some very extensive application packets for the railroad, 7 of them actually, before I could even get to this point. get their signature. So the railroad's on board with it. The railroad's okay with it, and it stays out of their way with the trains or whatever they have going there.
Okay. Turn it back over to the board. I hope that helped clarify some items. If you have further questions.
Madam Chair, Mark Hyde for the record. First of all, a question for you, Dan. I didn't properly hear what the recommendation, your recommendation was in terms of whether this should be allowed or not. I couldn't hear what you said.
I apologize, Dan Kalan for the record. I apologize for speaking softly. My recommendation was to deny this variance request.
That's what I thought I heard you say. And you don't have to apologize. It's my hearing probably, not your speaking. A question for you, George Pomeroy. When you're talking about the need to have orderly signs, that it's going to be more attractive, it's going to be more appealing for our gateway to have signs spread out along that highway. What type of advertisement are you imagining on those signs?
Sure. So the type of advertisement, especially as we get closer into town, they're all local small businesses. And as further proof, every single one of my advertisers on all my signs, bar none, are all local small businesses. I don't have any national accounts. We're not going to get like Coors Light up there by any means.
Yeah, the reason why I ask that is because they might be symmetrical. That's what you're saying. They're going to be all symmetrical. But the subject matter on every sign is going to be different, right?
Potentially. There's also a chance that a business in town could rent sequential signs. So, you know, we could have a pattern. They could actually put like a sentence that reads the whole way through if they wanted to.
So if this were denied, what would your options be in terms of signage on that property?
So right now I could put one sign on that parcel somewhere.
In the middle or on the end?
In the
or-
middle, on the edge.
But
and,
just one, right?
But just one, yeah.
Okay.
I could put two smaller ones, but that would kind of not.
Wouldn't be able to see them.
No, that's correct.
Okay. And is this the only purpose this strip of land could possibly serve, would be to provide signage?
The way I see it, it's a very limited, there's very limited uses for that land right there next to the railroad, and I think this is a good use of it for small businesses to put their name out there and let people know what's in store for them in Fallon and what we can offer them.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Madam Chair, Joe Frey for the record. Another thing that Mr. Pomeroy made a comment on, and I think is very accurate, you know, if you look across the highway there, you could conceivably have as many, if not more, signs haphazardly placed on each parcel, you know, one per parcel. So the same thing could be done in different places. I don't know if that, I'm just making that as a general comment. I don't know if it proves any point or anything other than that's an exceptionally odd-shaped parcel, you know, length and width-wise.
Madam Chair, can I add something to this? Just to clear this up a little bit, right? It's one parcel. He can have one sign that's 140 square feet, or he can have 5 signs that are 20 square feet. It's the total square footage of the sign. So again, the parcel across the street could have one sign that's 140 square feet, or if they meet the spacing, they could have 5 20-square foot signs. So again, I just want to make that clear that it's not the number of signs. He's proposing 5, but he's proposing 5 signs that are 140 square feet. So it's 5 times more than what the code requires or what the code allows. So that I just want to get that clear, that he is proposing 5 signs, but it's the total square footage of the signs for the whole parcel. That's what the variance is for. It's not the number, it's the size of the signs in that total.
Thank you for that clarification. That was helpful. At this time, anyone else on the board have anything to add or questions? I would like to turn it over for public comment. Are you together? Okay. Come on up, have a seat. Each of you will have 3 minutes each. They'll be starting the clock, and make sure that all your comments are directed towards the board. Thank you. Please state your name and your address for the record.
My name is John Geslin. My address is 1071 Haskell Street, Reno, Nevada. And I'm an attorney for Michael and Claudia Casey.
Me too? Oh, yeah. Mick Casey, and I live on 399 Reagan Place here in Fallon, Nevada.
Thank you. Please start.
Madam Chair and members of the commission, I submitted a letter in opposition, and I won't reiterate the points I made in that letter. The one thing I did want to focus on today was what seems to be glossed over here by Mr. Pomeroy, is the hardship. And Nevada law, the Supreme Court of Nevada has specifically addressed variances and the hardships it's required to grant a variance in a case called Enterprise Citizens Action Committee versus Clark County Board of County Commissioners at 112 Nevada 649. And in that case, the Supreme Court said it's incumbent upon the property owner to prove what hardship or difficulty there is that the owner of the property would be deprived of all beneficial uses of the land. If the property was used solely for the purpose allowed in that zone, a reasonable return on the property would not be realized. Here, there is a reasonable return on the property. He can put up to 2 signs or 5 signs that are just smaller, or 1 large one. So there's, his application has not provided any evidence that there was an exceptional or practical difficulty or an exceptional or undue hardship, as the Supreme Court has laid out that condition. And as Mr. Pomeroy said, he says it would be isolated and unbalanced. That certainly doesn't meet the hardship requirement laid out, which I just set forth. Thank you for your time.
We get 3 minutes each, or just? Oh, I didn't, sure. On that map, I can't see it from here, but I own a mile of property right the other side of so I'm across the railroad tracks. The next mile is our property, and that last little piece on the end of York Lane, goes down to nothing. And if I was ever going to put a sign, I'd want to put it right there, but he's wanting to put one there. And then the other thing is, at some point in time, we're not exactly sure what we're going to be able to do with that, but we have in the past considered putting an access across the railroad tracks. They say it's more reasonable now. Before it was kind of too expensive, and I don't know exactly where that would be. And if there was a bunch of signs there and one happened to be right where we thought it should be, if it was supposed to line up with, let's say, the road that goes, whatever that little road is that goes by your place there, then that would be kind of detrimental to us. And the other thing is I can't see where 5 big signs is less distractive than 1. To me, it's like I'm driving along the road. What did that say? What's that say? Ooh, what's that say? Oh, man, I don't agree with that. Oh, wow. I can't see where it's 5 signs is better than 1. I can't think of anything else to say. Well, I had 1:30 seconds.
Yes.
Oh, gee.
Well, thank you for your comment, and thank
Oh,
you for taking.
I'll use a minute again.
Yes.
I was going to ask Mr. Pomeroy. So if you get a variance, and you
All
can put
questions are directed towards the board, Mick.
to the board.
Yes, thank you.
So I was wondering if Mr. Pomeroy gets a variance, why would it be limited to 5 signs, or could he put 25 in there with the variance? Could he put multiple more signs with that once the variance goes through? Or would it be limited to these 5?
Your comments, once all comments have been made. You guys jotting these down so you can answer? Thank you. Perfect. All right. Do you have anything else to add?
Nothing.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm good.
Wonderful. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming up. Any other public comment? All right, seeing that there is none, I'd like to direct that to staff to answer the question.
Yeah, again, Randy Hines for the record. The variance is pretty specific on 5 signs that are 140 square feet, so that's what this variance would be limited to. He couldn't come back and say, well, I'm going to put 10 signs at 70 square feet. It's specific, it's 5 signs at 140 square feet.
Additionally, Dan Klon for the record, in our recommended conditions, if you were to approve this, we limit the maximum subject sign area for the property to 700 square feet. So that would only allow for 5 140 square foot signs.
Thank you for all that clarification. After public comment, is there anything that you would like to add as far as the board?
Yeah. Madam Chair, Mark Hyde for the record. I want to comment on Mr. Geslin's statement about hardship. And I'm thinking about what Mr. Pomeroy has said about hardship. This narrow piece of land really can only be used for, in this case, what you're telling me is advertisement, basically. And if I'm hearing this correctly, you feel like it's a hardship, because I'm directing this to you first. You feel like this is a hardship because it's not very profitable for you when you're renting out signs to only have 1 sign as opposed to 5. You're looking at this as a business opportunity to put 5 signs that you can rent advertisement. And to have only 1 sign, 140 square feet, 1 sign at one end or in the middle or at the beginning, this is causing a hardship on you economically because you're not able to have the maximum possible with a variance, which would be 5 signs. Is that correct?
Sure, I mean, there is a profit margin or, financial gain to it, but that's not the primary driver of this. The focus here is on placing signage in a way that maintains consistency and order along a very long corridor and maintaining the intent of the sign code. The spacing and scale are designed to keep the impact low. If it was about profitability, I could put signs every 300 feet according to the road. I mean, on parcels, a normal sized parcel. But this is about, I'm also trying to make the county look good as we come in, with orderly, well planned out signs. As far as the hardship, is that a strict application of the per parcel standard on this mile-long linear parcel produces the unintended result that doesn't align with the code. It's a mismatch between the parcel configuration and how the code functions. The property can't be reasonably utilized the same way as typical parcels can due to its configuration, and due to that, that parcel is limited in the ability to reasonably utilize the frontage in a manner that would otherwise be allowed on other parcels.
So to me, the tall pole in the tent has been hardship. But what you're just saying now is that this has more to do with configuration and the size and configuration of that lot. And because of that, it should qualify as a hardship.
I think so. I'm trying to do this in a professional.
No, I just want to make sure I'm understanding where you're coming from. Mr. Geslin is saying that he doesn't think that we've proven enough, or you haven't proven enough in your application, that there is a hardship that would justify a variance. And so I just wanted to be clear in my mind kind of where this lays. So thank you.
Sure.
How many signs do you happen to have on this property right now?
0.
Okay. I understand going along with county code and keeping things in compliance with the master plan, but variances are offered and allowed for certain circumstances and conditions. At this time, I would like to entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, Dennis Mills for the record. Based on the information provided in this application, in the staff report and heard tonight, I move to find that the criteria found in CCCC 1608090F have not been met, and therefore recommend we deny this variance, VAR 26-1, to construct 5 signs along the railroad right-of-way and a variance from the limit on square feet of signage per parcel at the right-of-way area south of the railroad, APNs 008-41104, 008-41109.
Second.
There has been a motion by Commissioner Mills and seconded by Commissioner Nsogdigi. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Aye. It'll pass 3-2. Are you going to stay in the hot seat?
So the variance has been denied 3-2. Just
Correct.
to be clear.
Thank you for the clarification, Council. All right, we'll move on to 9, new business, C, consideration. Correct. There is, sorry, since you're in the hot seat, I was keeping it, but there is an appeal period. You have 10 days to appeal to the Board of County Commissioners. Moving on to new business 9C, consideration and possible action regarding a variance application VAR 26-2 filed by GP Global LLC. The property is located off Reno Highway near Coleman Road and the railroad right-of-way south of Assessor's Parcel Number 010-603-01. The applicant proposes to construct 2 signs along the railroad right-of-way and request a variance from the limit on square feet of signage per parcel. I'd like to turn it over to staff, please.
Dan Kalon, Churchill County Planning for the record. This is a very similar case to the last one. Key differences are that there are only 2 signs. It's a slightly shorter distance, and staff is unable to make the required findings as this is not an exceptional shape, as it is possible to put these signs on the parcel. It is not an exceptional hardship, as there's still the potential to put signs on the parcel. It is not injurious to public health, safety, or welfare if it complies with county code, but it does detrimentally impact neighboring properties. And finally, it is not in keeping with the intent of the title, as it is varying from the strict standard that is outlined in code. Therefore, staff recommends denial. I'm available for any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Dan. Do you have anything to add, sir?
Not really, but yeah, same thing, different parcel. Still same kind of spacing, same orderly concept that I'm trying to, make it look good as we come into town. And then meet the intent of the code better.
Open it up to the board for discussion.
Madam Chair, Dennis Mills for the record. Just to perhaps clarify why I made the motion in the last case, and this feels the same to me, is simply, especially on the hardship point that was made by several people, trying to get a visually appealing array of signs along the highway does not seem like a problem to me today. Somebody, maybe Mr. Casey, made the comment that no signs might be more appealing than additional signs. And sort of the discussion so far, I don't see any hardship. The property that involves railroad right-of-way is got a first and best use by the railroad with access required. If there's some additional revenue that can be gained by having signs there, in my mind, fine, put them there per county code. But I don't really see a reason to staff's report, to affirm staff's report. I don't see any reason there's sufficient exception in these 4 findings. So in my mind, I'm probably going to be thinking the same way on this recommendation.
Any further comment from the board? I'd like to open it up to public comment, please. Go ahead and have a seat. If you'll hit the base microphone on the bottom and First, last name and address, please, and direct all comments to the board. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening. Quintain, 2707 Ladera Drive. So I'll try and be quick through this. I've got 2 things, really. The first is comments directly applying to VAR 26-2 and why I agree with the staff's recommendation to deny the variance. And then the second is basically prepared just in case the variance is denied, but we face this scenario later where a standard billboard would go up, and I desire to have that denied as far as a building permit, and I'll get into that. So for the opposition to the variance, I think the code is clear, and I think Mr. Kalan said it pretty well. It is a standard parcel, linear in shape. There's nothing extraordinary about it. It's standard topography. So there's really no undue hardship that would require a variance. This is the same exact scenario as the other variance. It is just a flat piece of desert road next to a railroad. And then for point 3 within the code, the variance will not be materially detrimental to public welfare or injurious to the property or improvements in the vicinity. I think especially within this variance, and it's kind of hard to tell because you can't see the Ana Verde neighborhood behind the clock, but there are about 20 homes that sit in direct line of sight, mine being one of them, about 250 feet from this billboard where I watch the sunrise and sunset, so do all the neighbors, 20 in a row, and we're gonna be staring at a billboard instead of the night sky. So I don't see that a variance would be required for the code reasons, for the 4 reasons. I don't see them applying. I think it's truly for an economic gain, which is Mr. Pomeroy's job to do, but I disagree. So I would agree with the staff's recommendation to deny it. So for the last minute, I hope to address that even if the variance is denied, the entire neighborhood is going to look at a 20-foot tall, 140 square foot billboard with catwalks on both sides and a rail on either side as well, blocking the night sky, effectively our view from the backyard. And there's dark skies clauses within the Nevada Code or the Churchill County Code. But what I'd want to bring up is we're talking the county code, which is the Planning Commission's job to enforce, but with the railroad right-of-way, the Nevada state law does apply, and I bring this up just to make it known that there are multiple hurdles because the state regulates 660 feet from the highway out through the right-of-way with the railroad. So even if the railroad has a right-of-way, the state is going to have to approve any billboard that goes up. And that means for this railroad being 60 feet back, they'd have to look at that. So even if the state approves, the county board would then have to look at this and understand that there's a reason for the Highway Beautification Act, which Nevada has codified, that they would probably deny it, and I would encourage Churchill County to. If I can just take 10 more seconds, I think the missing piece for this variance.
Sir, the 3 minutes is up. I'm sorry.
Just in case we have others. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your comments, and they will be heard. Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Seeing that there is none, you had something to add, Randy?
Yes. Yeah, thank you again, Randy Hines, for the record. We did get a response back from NDOT, and that should be in your packet as well. So I think it referenced the beautification. I think it, if I recall right, it referenced access off to get to these signs as well. So there is a response letter from NDOT, just so you guys have that in your agenda. I also wanted to state that we received another letter to deny this application from a Lincoln Q. Kane. It's included in never mind. We're good to go. Sorry about that. Thank you.
And just for the record, the written statement, it will be included in the minutes.
Any further discussion from the board? I'd like to entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, Vicky Ansotigi for the record. Based on the information provided in the application, in the staff report, and heard tonight, I move to find that the criteria found in Churchill County Code 16.08.090F have not been met and therefore deny the variance to construct 2 signs along the railroad right-of-way and variance from the limit on square feet of the signage per parcel at the hold on, I want to make sure I get the right-of-way, yeah. At the right-of-way area south of the railroad and APN 010-603-01.
Motion has been stated by Commissioner Ansogadi, seconded by Commissioner Hyde. All those in favor of denial? Aye. All those opposed? The denial will pass 5-0. You have a 10-day appeal period to the Board of County Commissioners. Thank you. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you for your guys' time, and the staff, thank you for your time.
Moving on, item number 10, Planning Commission. Item A, consideration and possible action regarding May 13th, 2026 Planning Commission meeting that was rescheduled to April 29th, 2026, and possibly reschedule it back to the original date. Staff?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Randy Hines, again, Public Works Planning and Building. Due to some unforeseen changes in the department with Dean's retiring, getting pushed out a little bit, we've got a couple zone changes coming up that we want to make sure that we get the notifications out and have ample time for those. We're just asking to move this meeting back to the normal May 11th, May 13th date. And again, we would have both Dean and Dan here for that, so.
Thank you. Can I entertain a motion to move the meeting back to May 13th, 2026, 6 p.m.?
Dennis Mills for the record. Move we reschedule the May 13th meeting back to its original time on May 13th rather than April 29th.
Thank you. Moving of the May meeting has been motioned by Commissioner Mills, seconded by Commissioner Frey. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? We will reschedule that meeting. It'll pass 5-0. Item number. It will be May 13th on the original second Wednesday at 6 p.m. right here. Yes. Oh my goodness. Item number 11, consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda, there are none. We can approve the consent agenda as, you don't need to, nothing? All right, perfect. Let's move on to public comment. Seeing that there is none, meeting is adjourned, 6:48 p.m. Thank you.